former Bitcoin bull Raoul Pal only owns one Bitcoin. Greg Foss, explain. What happened there?
I got so much hatred for that, but it's hilarious. It's just like, as I've been talking about for a long time, I think Bitcoin underperforms some of these others. So, and over time, I just get tired of the hardcore Bitcoin community. And they prove it time and time again by, I explained that, network effects is actually about encouraging people onto the network and not attacking them when they don't agree with you. When I then say, well, I've actually only got one Bitcoin because I feel like I should have a stake in it, but I don't feel like it's where I want to be or what's the best use of my money. Oh my God, everybody freaks out again. And then they dredge up the fact that I bought a bunch of ETH call options that are going to expire worthless. And now I'm exposed as a scam and a fraud because I lost money in an option trade. And it's just been interesting being on Twitter, watching the monkeys throwing poo at each other as soon as things fall apart. Everybody's freaking out, accusing each other of all sorts of things. It's kind of hilarious. But, within the general context of crypto and the logarithmic trends that I look at, it's kind of nothing really happening. We're just in a big sideways range right now. And I think, I looked at this in detail, and for me, it's all been driven by the lack of inflows into the overall network. We just haven't seen network growth for a while. And whether that's a function of consumer spending patterns, so, if you raise a lot of prices on people and don't raise their wages enough, then the marginal investor disappears. And I think we've seen that. We've seen that in stuff like the meme stocks as well. So I think that's kept people away and that's kept the market a little more volatile. But from the top-down perspective, all I get is phone calls and conference calls with all of the world's biggest investors. This week alone, I've spoken to two of the largest private equity firms in the world who are like, how do we do this? How do we get involved? And that's, I'm speaking to pension funds, asset allocators, everybody. So I don't think anything's changed at all. It's just a period of stagnancy. It's a combination of levels. So firstly, most people have done some VC. Almost everybody has. And we've seen that in the flows. Because that's easy to get past your investment committee because there's no mark to market. You're not having something on your balance sheet that nobody knows how to deal with. So we saw that and people are now like, okay, well, where do we go from here? So one of the things I've done is I've set up a fund of funds investing in crypto hedge funds. There's a lot of interest in that space. How do we get exposure? That's how people want to get exposure to DeFi as well, because it's an easier route to get a bunch of different hedge funds who run DeFi strategies to have a kind of diversified portfolio because people don't yet understand the risks. And I think that's right. So they're looking at the secondary markets now. And, realistically, if you look at the VC space, there's been tens of billions of dollars gone into VC. While if you look at the secondary markets, i.e. the hedge fund market, there's been about $1 billion of primary capital only. And the whole space is about $6 billion. And that's mainly driven by performance. So there's a lot of institutional interest in that. Banks and everybody else are looking at, okay, how do we service this market? How do we set up trading desks? What do we need to provide? The mega finance firms are thinking, okay, how do we further get into this market beyond just VC? People are looking at, I'm seeing people looking at DeFi separately to figure out how can we get involved in the lending markets, because these guys are super experienced. We've seen the launch of things like the new Brevin Howard, which is the mega hedge fund run by Alan Howard. They've just launched Brevin Howard Digital, and that's a whole kind of soup to nuts organization with, they've retooled a bunch of credit traders and brought them into DeFi because they understand the kind of risk cycles and stuff. They've brought a whole bunch of people into the space. So I just see that institutionalization of product, which actually allows for new capital to come into the space, which was something that was needed because a lot of people can't put Bitcoin and ETH on their balance sheet. It just doesn't work for them.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
Is it fear? Is it abandonment issues? Is it... it's very easy to dismiss people when they feel this way, and everyone's emotional, but I want to understand why.
I did this once before. I got thrown into anti-climate change Twitter a few years ago. And all of these people, I was arguing with them, saying, well, why would you not take Pascal's dilemma and suggest, well, if the downside is catastrophic, then the worst you're going to do is maintain the status quo by trying to save the planet and whatever. But people were really arguing. So I took some people off aside in conversations and I was trying to find out why. Why are you so anti this? Because it didn't really make that much rational sense. The answer was basically, I'm worried you're going to raise gas prices or taxes on gasoline. So what it actually was a reflection of poverty and lack of opportunity set. Particularly the middle of America got gutted out over the last 30 years, and it was a representation of that. And I think it's somewhat the same in crypto. There's a bunch of people that kind of have fun, stay poor crowd who are really, this is their bet, this is their thing that could save them, and they don't have a lot because you don't get it from the whales in Bitcoin. They're not like that at all. So it's the small holders who think that this is their chance to escape the trap. And they will want to defend the network at all costs and their position because they've self-identified as this. We had an interview, Ash did an interview with somebody who had invested in BSV. And oh my God, we got attacked on Twitter. I'm like, really? You can have an open conversation. You might still think Craig Wright is the Antichrist. That's fine. But some guys who are investing in this and they want to put their case across, we should be able to have those conversations. But you can't. So and that was all about that forking and the psychological fear of that community splitting, twice back in 2017. So it's right. It's all emotional scarring, I think.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.